Hey everybody, I can't wait. I'm doing a little bit of work on my new 20 horsepower Bovaird and Seyfang oil field engine. I wasn't going to work on it until I got a skid under it and got it off the trailer, but you know what, I just couldn't wait because there's some really interesting stuff on this engine, and I posted some pictures of this on Smokestack, and apparently it's kind of an interesting rare piece. So I started with this interesting arrangement here, which appears to be a trip mechanism for a Wyco OC mag, which would go on that mount bracket, and also what seems to be a governor. It says Pickering on the side there, you might be able to see it, and it's belt driven. One of the strange things, you can see those two pulleys are not aligned, but they're also not totally away from each other, so that's kind of strange. And it has that arm there, but I don't really know what that arm would operate as far as controlling the gas flow. So the first thing that I took apart was this cover here on this I'll call it the trip mechanism. Very basic, very large inside. I'm still not entirely sure what it's supposed to do. There's a giant cam in there that's driven by the side shaft, and I imagine that cam is to trip the mag. But over here there's a flyweight. Let's see, is there another one over there? I can't see if there's another flyweight on the back side. And I'm not entirely sure what the flyweight operates. And up here, there's an interesting mechanism that seems to connect. See, this little wire rod here connects to this knob. And there's also this other knob over here. And they're both seized. I can't move them. And it seems to move to that little button right there. Again, I don't know what that does. But that's what it looks like on the inside. And also, I don't know if it's visible in here. No. You can see a spring in there. Next, the air box I took off. This was like a sliding choke plate. I took this out. There was a little lock nut here that I loosened, and it wouldn't quite come out, so I said, well, I guess I'll brave loosening these bolts here. And you know what? Every single bolt loosened so easily. Looking at that rust, I never would have thought it would have loosened easily, but it did. So that relieved some pressure off of that sliding choke plate, so I slid it out. And inside, looks like the grate to a gas grill, and a shiny plate in there, which I guess is aluminum. I wouldn't think it's stainless steel, given the era. So let's continue taking this apart. That cover plate came off. Now let's take this off. All right. Well, this top piece is just looks exactly like I said, just a grate. So those triangle pieces are cast into it. This is one big solid piece of cast iron. And it seems like there's two inlets. The one I'm holding and the one with the rag in it there. This slot here is boxed off on the back, and it looks like this is where these two, yeah, that's where the two pipes come in. Let's set that aside. Trying to be careful here. I don't want to break these reeds. I imagine that's what these are reed valves. That just comes right out like that. Whoops, alright, these do come out. Okay, underneath there's little springs. This one's rotten, all gone. Little springs that hold these reed valves up. And this one, I can't quite take it. I don't want to force it. But there's another spring in the middle that holds this reed valve right up against that gas intake passage. So that would essentially shut off the gas until there's a suction by the engine that would suck gas in. Okay, so there's 4 bolts underneath here, or studs I should say, and I can't believe they all came off with their favorite shop tool, the hammer. Speaking of hammer, start with the soft hammer. There we go. Got her loose. Oh, almost loose. Give it a little more. There we go. Chock full o' rust. And we got ourselves, yeah, that's supposed to be inside an engine, right? This thing is in rough shape. Alright, so here's the shot inside. You can see it looks pretty questionable. See right there is the piston rod. And I was pretty worried when I first looked in here. So you can see the piston skirt right there. I was pretty worried when I first looked in here because I thought that was the bore and it looks disgusting. But actually, I don't know, you can't really see it. This part of the cylinder here is a larger diameter than the pistons. This is just, you know, volume for the air and gas to sit, and the bore actually starts right about where the piston skirt is. So I thought I was looking at a bore and sleeve job or something, but that just has to be cleaned out. Hopefully the cylinder side, or the front side, looks a lot nicer. So that's about all I'm going to do right now as far as the cylinder goes. I've satisfied my curiosity as far as what's inside this intake box, and I gotta say it is very simple. This is chainsaw technology, really. That's what chainsaws have for intake valves. I was expecting to see a typical poppet valve like you see on pretty much any other two-stroke, you know, like a half-breed or, you know, anything else, a Bessemer or whatever. But it's just simple reed valves, which is cool because it shows a progression of technology and innovation. And also, for me, this is a lot easier to rebuild or replace or whatever than a poppet valve. This surface needs to be cleaned up. The surface on the underside of these triangles need to be cleaned up, and that's about it. Even if I bring it to a machine shop, it's not going to be that difficult or costly to flatten these out. And I can get these pieces of metal from McMaster, no big deal at all. And some springs, so you can hardly, not really see where the spring used to go inside that hole to hold these up. And that's the valve, that's it.